Okay, YouTube, we're back. We're going to do a cook today. Um, Back to the egg roll theme, but a first cook for me. It's going to be a Peach Cobbler Egg Roll. So just be patient. This is going to be either it works or it doesn't work. So, well, we're going to give it a shot, and we'll be back. All right, YouTube. So let's get this put together. This is the first all around. The crux induction here is the first time I'm going to be using it. First time using this recipe, so be patient with me if you would, please, and we'll try and get to this thing together. So first thing it says is to, in a small bowl, and I'm just going to use the saucepan that has to go onto the induction heater because it's one less bowl I have to wash. So the first thing, the first thing you have to have egg roll wraps. It's calling for 12, and then 2 1/4 cups of fresh peaches, which is basically 3 peaches depending on the size of them. In Maryland, you're not getting fresh peaches right now. I tried several places, so I just went with a canned peach, 3 cans. I believe there are 16-ounce cans, and I didn't get them with any of the sugar or anything added to it, just sliced peaches packed in syrup, their own syrup. So I wish I could have got fresh peaches because I'm a little concerned if it's going to, what kind of shape on the egg rolls that I'm going to get. So the first thing you do is you put in a 1/4 cup of white granulated sugar. Let's see, then you're going to add a 1/4 cup of water, and I suspect that this could need more, but we're going to start with this. There's the 1/4 cup of water. Let's see here. This is 1 teaspoon of cornstarch. Now you can use, I found 2 different recipes. You can use regular flour. This particular recipe I seem to like a little bit better, and it calls for cornstarch. And I got my Miss Booger little bowls here that I saw her use, and I just had to have some of them, so I'm putting them to use today. So I got my cornstarch, my white sugar, and my lemon juice. My lemon juice is 2 teaspoons of lemon juice. Now, for whatever reason, it calls for vanilla extract, but it's saying to add it after you get the peaches going, so I'm not real quite sure what that's all about. So we're going to go ahead and mix this up so that there's no lumps in here. It's just a mixture, a fine mixture, and then you'll pour your peaches into it next. So I'm going to go ahead and get all this mixed up, YouTube. Alright, YouTube, so we got our mixture all mixed up. Got rid of all the lumps in it. Have it on the induction heater right now. Next thing it says to cut your peaches up into fine cubes. I cut them up as small as I wanted them cut. I wanted to be able to, I didn't want small pieces, so and then I did that off camera. It's just sliced peaches, you just cut them into the sizes that you would like. So then it says add that to the cornstarch, lemon juice, sugar, water mixture. And then what you do is you cook the peach and sugar water mixture together until it starts to bubble and starts to thicken. So you just stir this up a couple times. Alright, YouTube, I'm just going to step back in here for a little bit. The pot started popping on me, but when I washed it, I left water. Apparently water got underneath the ring there and it started popping it out. But I did bump the temperature up to 175, and I did cover the saucepan Uh, Again, as it says, stir till it thickens up and it starts to bubble. So we're not quite there yet. The only thing I would add is that, if it says in the instructions to add the sugar after you've got it to bubble and thicken up. I put the sugar in the first place. I'm just going to make sure it doesn't burn. But you can put the sugar in after you take it off the saucepan. Alright YouTube, we're back for a little bit. So while that's cooking, I'm just going to go ahead and jump to some of the other things that had to be prepped. So one of them is, one egg in a separate bowl. You want to beat the egg up, and what this is basically something that you're going to use the brush on to brush the edges of the egg roll so that it sticks together well. Obviously we have a sort of a pasty product going inside of it, and we want to make sure that our egg roll stays together. Let me check on my peaches real quick. I'm going to go ahead and beat this up and get it in the refrigerator and let it sit in the refrigerator, and then we'll come back to the next step. Okay, we're back. So the next step is basically telling you to take the brown cinnamon in a separate bowl, take the brown sugar, which is the brown sugar is a half a cup, and then you want to mix in 2 teaspoons of the ground cinnamon. And then of course mix that up well. Now one of the things I am going to do a little different from what this recipe is calling for, seems to be a little extreme to me, but they want you to, once your peach filling has cooled down and you're ready to fill your egg roll wraps, that they want you to dunk the entire egg roll into that butter. Well, to me that just seems to be a little extreme, so I'm just going to brush the butter on there, and then obviously hope that everything stays together real well. So here you have it, a half a cup of brown sugar and 2 teaspoons of ground cinnamon that we're just going to mix in there, and I'm just going to sprinkle this on top instead of, like it says, I mean, it sounds appealing to dunk your egg roll into the butter and then roll your egg roll into this brown sugar and cinnamon mixture, but I'm just going to make it a little bit different. I think I'll be fine if I just make sure I get enough of both on the egg roll that everything should be good. Now, one of the things that it does say from one recipe to the other is that the second recipe suggests that you put the egg roll in the oven and let it cook for about 10 minutes, then pull it out, and then put your sugar and cinnamon topping on top of it. The second recipe says to do it now and then put it in the oven later, and I think that's the one I'm going to follow with, because I don't mind if the sugar and all that gets a little crystallized. I just hope they don't burn up. But alright YouTube, so I'm about ready to pull the peaches off. I did raise the temperature up a little bit. I did add half a teaspoon of cinnamon into this mixture, and I diluted half a teaspoon of cinnamon, and I diluted another teaspoon of cornstarch and mixed it in with the the peach syrup mix because it just wasn't getting thick like I like it to. And maybe that's because they're canned peaches. You know, they're packaged in their own syrup, but if you had, you know, regular fresh peaches, it probably would go a lot different. And I did raise the temperature up, kept stirring it, watching it. I think it went up as high as 250 one time, and just kept watching it, kept stirring it. But now I'm going to take it off right now, real quickly, and let it sit over here and cool. Alright, we're back, YouTube. So you take your beaten egg, and you just want to go around the edges of it. You don't have to go real heavy. Like I said, I normally just use a water, but my mixture's also not normally as thin as this is when I'm doing egg rolls. Egg rolls is like one of my favorites. So then it says to take 2 teaspoons, and we're going to sort of play this by ear a little bit. I did put this in the freezer behind me just to accelerate the thickening of it as it cooled down. So this is, like I say, all new to me, so we're gonna work with this much and then see how it acts when I go to roll it up. So like normal, you fold your corners over, and then you want to bring the other end up, pull it in tight if you can. Now I can see already I'm going to need more filling in the next ones to come. And you want to roll it up, and this is definitely something that is not going to be easy. I can see that already. Alright, so we got that side buttered. Now I'm just going to come back with the brown sugar and cinnamon coating, and then I'm going to put these in the Masterbuilt. Something I neglected to mention, YouTube, I am going to in this little Masterbuilt, I'm going to put you know, 3 or 4 pecan wood chips in there to put a little smoke flavor on these peach cobbler egg rolls. Alright, YouTube, so while they're sort of kind of cooking a little bit, let's go ahead and make our icing. Now in this bowl I already have 2 teaspoons of milk. Getting ready to put in a cup of confectionery sugar. I've got 2 teaspoons of ground cinnamon, and I've got about 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. It only called for a half, but I don't know. We'll see. This is a do or die cook. So you mix this up. I think I'm already going to need some more milk or something in this, but again, I'm going by these instructions and I'm not liking the way it looks already, so I'm going to add a little bit more milk. I sort of questioned that when I saw it. I was like, you know, 2 teaspoons of milk? Doesn't seem like much. So we're just going to mix and mix. Alright, YouTube, thought we'd give you a picture of them inside of the little Masterbuilt. They have been turned. They're not going to turn out perfect, but the only thing that beats a failure is not trying, so we'll bring it back when we're getting ready to frost them. Alright, YouTube, there you have it. A little disappointed, but it is what it is. Like I said earlier, you know, nothing beats a failure than not trying, but they're really good. I don't have a shape to them, but I've already, like I said, they're good. I've already had one of them, but I'll get into my reasonings when I get into the recap. But there you go, YouTube. Thanks for watching, and we'll be back here shortly. It's the presentation that bothers you more than anything. And I think that's a couple reasons. One, I drained the syrup, the peach juice off the cans of peaches, but they were still just too wet. I think that's probably the reason why I had to add, dilute some more cornstarch or starch into the mixture, just to try and thicken it up. But I started out behind the 8 ball, just because they were so wet, but I thought I could make it work. The other thing that, really held me back is, using that Masterbuilt. Again, I thought that I can get it up there, and cook them fairly decently, although I was like 75, 80 degrees under what the recipe called for. I still wanted to make it work. It's an experiment. Like I say, the presentation sort of stinks. They got great flavor. The cinnamon icing on top of them is really good. The filling's really good. It just don't have that size to them. So this is probably something I'll revisit once the peaches come back into season. And like the wife said, she ate one of them also, and she thought maybe the smoke flavor was a little too strong, which a Masterbuilt's going to give it off, just because it's used. I mean, it's probably 6 years old, and it's been used, so just to burn off from the inside, it is giving it smoke flavor. I didn't notice it. I thought it was fine, but I guess her palate's a little bit better than mine. But so I'll revisit it. She even said something about maybe trying apples or something. The other thing I thought about, and I was afraid of trying the first time, because I was afraid it turned out oily, is actually deep fry them and then just shake a confectionery sugar over top of them. But the only thing about that, I really like that brown sugar taste that I'm getting out of it. So, we'll see. I'll look at the recipe again and give it another thought. I don't call it a total failure. I just wish the presentation of them was better than what they are. It's just so flat, which is really what discouraged me. Halfway through the cook, I was like, man, they're flattening out more on me. So, but again, I would definitely be doing this again. I won't wait till it's almost winter time to try and find peaches or something to cook with. So, but I hope you enjoyed the cook, YouTube. I did. It's an experience. That's what it's all about, trial and error. As I said earlier, nothing beats a failure other than not trying. So I believe in that, and we tried. We thought we could make it work, and we almost did. YouTube, thanks for watching. This is Lance from St. Mary's County, Maryland. And as always, please like and subscribe, and if you would, click on that bell for all notifications. It helps the channel out, and it's free. Doesn't cost you anything. Thanks again, YouTube.